looked at Tom first thing, and so of course it went that
And
way.
after we were done having sex,
No!
we watched...
Nerd On.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, or post-Thanksgiving. Welcome to Nerd on the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome, especially those who annoy each other on road trips.
That's like everybody.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would say so.
I feel like I wouldn't be, though.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for listening. My name is Corey.
I am Caitlin.
Ollie.
I'm Tom.
And I am Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at
Patreon.
Yay!
He looked at me. We said it together.
Because she's always going to take it from me.
Always.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a together thing.
100%.
It is.
If you're new to the show and you like what you hear, then be sure to check out our Patreon page and support the making of podcasts, where you can also get more bonus episodes there.
Yeah, bonus
Patreon.
episodes. There's a Discord server. We're trying to mix it up all the time. Trying to get how can we do more for our patrons? And boy, do we have
Live
more.
Moss.
Yeah, Live Moss.
Taco Bell.
And if you want to find that, go to patreon.com/nerdontv.
TV. Yep.
Yep.
Nerd on TV.
You nailed it.
Isn't Twitter the only? No, Twitch is the only thing.
Twitch.
Everything else is Nerd on TV.
I know it catches all of us. We're still adjusting. Months after the fact, we're still adjusting.
Now,
All the business is out of the way. What are we talking about, Core?
Oh my gosh. We are talking about my family's favorite Thanksgiving film, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Classic film.
John Hughes, 1987 film starring Steve Martin and the late, great John Candy. For me, this is a staple in my household. It was shown to me by my dad and grandpa when I was young. Do we want to get into a guess that grump, Tom?
Yeah, it's it's that time since it's something we can rate. So we're going to
Guess that
grump.
Death with turkeys, Ollie.
If you're out there and you're a fan of our show, feel free to come up with our little interludes here, so you don't have to do this every
Feel
time.
free-
don't.
Save us from this hell.
Feel free to send us your Fiverr account.
oh my god.
But so, if you're new to the show as well, Guess That Grump is a segment of the show. If there's something we can rate that's a work of art, like a TV show, book, or comic book, that's completed, we can rate it out of 1 out of 5. So if Josh, who tends to like classics because he is cultured and he loves good things, if he rates it a 5, and then there's Ali, who was born inside of a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I don't know.
He
That
might
explains
rate
a lot.
He might rate it a 4.8, just 0.2 less, but that still makes him the grump of the week. So
It's because he lives in a vacuum cleaner.
yeah, with that at home,
And everything in there is just dirty.
everyone at home, write down your rating. But here we are, and as I always explain it, I will let Josh pick first.
Okay,
Nice.
Who's going to be the
I'm
grump?
divining the grump, and I think it's Ali.
Okay, fair enough. See, I'm gonna use Target. It's fine. Feel free.
I'm actually gonna pick Ali too.
Ali is the C in the Scantron. I'm telling you.
He is. It's either you or Ali, Tom. So
There's been an episode in the past where Tom said he's the safe bet. If you don't know who's the grump, just vote Tom.
Tom, yeah, and then
That's true.
Ali, yeah. The DJ Qualms and the Dr. Gripes. I'm gonna pick Caitlin.
wow.
Now, is it me? Because I am in a layover in Wichita right now, so I don't know if you could tell, but I am connecting in remotely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can't tell if it's my turn or not.
You're in the
Flight's
bathroom,
been
right?
So
delayed.
Go
you,
for it.
you could spend
Yeah.
Thanksgiving with us here.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm gonna pick Caitlin.
2 on Caitlin, 2 on Ollie.
Wow.
I'm gonna pick
Really?
Caitlin.
Really?
Ollie just gave the most
The girl who
oh.
likes the movie.
Yeah,
But also, I feel like she doesn't like
Yeah.
a lot of the oldies sometimes.
I'm gonna stick with Caitlin.
Observations.
Cool. So we have 3 votes on Caitlin,
Not really based on anything.
2 votes on Ollie, and no votes on Josh, Tom, and Corey. So
All right.
we will release our ratings at the end.
Challenge
first.
accepted. No, just kidding.
But with that, everyone at home, make sure to figure out or put down who you think is going to be the grump, and then let us know on the comments or rating below.
This is 30 years later,
Yes.
so There will be spoilers, but it's 30 years. So
31 some might say.
some might
The
say that.
spoilers are so old, it's older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
That's fair.
So, Corey, would you like to give a brief synopsis?
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to try to give this a very brief synopsis. Our two main characters are Neil Page and Del Griffith. The movie starts on Neil Page, who is this businessman who kind of has this cookie cutter life where everything's kind of planned to a T. He's a businessman, and his whole MO is just to get home from this business trip in New York, to get home to Chicago to his wife and lovely kids, from New York to Chicago.
Played by Steve Martin.
Things go awry, and his flight is rerouted to Wichita, Kansas, where he meets this guy named Del Griffith, who early in the film stole his cab, starting the kind of snowball effects of this film, I would call it. Mm-hmm. And the film kind of is what we would call not a buddy road trip, but kind of in that sense, comedy, written by John Hughes. And they kind of just get into one thing after another where Neil Page, Steve Martin's character, kind of falls apart and hates it, and Del Griffith kind of rolls with the punches and tries to keep this positive attitude through everything and doesn't really see anything as a negative. And through this, they hate each other and learn to become friends through all of it. And there's a really wonderful line that Neil Page says where he goes, I got here safe, but wiser. So, if I were to sum it up, that's kind of it. They eventually all get home, and you find out John Candy, who's talked about his perfect life and how happy he is, you find out that he's actually a widower of 8 years. And Neil, who thought, this guy was just giving him crap and kind of played everything better than it should be, was really hurting on the inside. So he invites him over for Thanksgiving, and they become what I would assume lifelong friends.
Yeah.
How's that for a brief synopsis?
Very
Pretty
good.
You did real good.
One filler that I always like Ollie uses is, and then hilarity ensues.
And hilarity ensues.
Yeah, there it is.
So a little bit of information: written, produced, and directed by John Hughes, aka Edmond Dantes. Does anyone know about that?
I did not know about that.
Yeah,
I know who Edmond Dantes is.
Yeah, because you love fucking Count of Monte Cristo.
Mm-hmm.
But that's his name that he used on screenplays that he didn't want to be part of.
Interesting.
But he didn't use it on this. But he used it on like other films, I think like Mr. Mom or some shit, or like Lampoon Vacation. But so John Hughes, for all those who are uninitiated, he did films such as cult classics, but also classics now that you can watch all on Netflix. Breakfast Club, 16
Pretty
Candles,
in Pink,
Pretty in Pink,
Ferris Bueller's Days Off,
Uncle Buck,
and Home Alone.
And Home Alone. He wrote Home Alone. He wrote Beethoven, Flubber, 101 Dalmatians.
Oh,
Weird Science, Breakfast Club.
Miracle on 34th Street, Mr. Mom, and
Which is kind of fascinating because I've literally seen every single one of those movies.
Oh wow!
Except for
Flubber.
Except for Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. Like
until
this
recently.
This was the final stone on the
see
Infinity
it.
Gauntlet.
Yeah, I had to see it for the first time. And
Wow.
Hughes Gauntlet.
I'm not like that at all.
So this film is actually based off a real experience John Hughes had where he was rerouted from New York to Chicago flight to Wichita, Kansas, and it took him 5 days to get home, inspiring the plot of this film.
Yeah. And Steve Martin, for those who are uninitiated, I think he has you may not know where he's from for those who are younger audiences, but you just know his face.
Steve Martin.
If you don't know Steve Martin, you are an uncultured swine.
You are.
Well,
I feel like the young generation will know him from Pink Panther and Cheaper by the Dozen, but
go to YouTube.
But the OGs will know him from Three Amigos and Father of the Bride.
Type in
Or
Steve
Jerk.
Martin SNL.
The Jerk.
The Jerk.
And thank me later.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Will do.
Oh my God, the Three Amigos.
Yes.
Oh God. Just chip, 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 chip. Nutty.
John Candy, who's
Party. Anyway.
John Candy, who's best known from Spaceballs, Home Alone, Uncle Buck, Splash, and Cool Runnings.
Oh, Cool Runnings.
Cool Runnings. Music by Ira Newborn, who did the score for 16 Candles, Mallrats, Uncle Buck, Ace Ventura, The Naked Gun 2.5. And distributed by
Naked
Paramount. Released November 25th, 1987. Runtime 92 minutes. They were to tell this story that sits at a 92% Rotten Tomatoes in 92 minutes.
Do you know what the original runtime was, Tom?
No.
3 hours and 45 minutes.
It was a lot.
And they cut it down to 92?
Yep.
Wow.
Is that
Apparently,
shot footage?
the 3.5 hour cut exists somewhere in the vault.
Oh,
We need
shit.
that.
It's not cut though. He said it would take like months or years to.
There's
We'll cut it.
two
Piece it
stories.
together.
There is the John Hughes ones that says it's not cut, and then there's the editor's version where it's cut and it's somewhere.
Oh.
We have
I'm
the
gonna go with the
technology.
editor on that one because
That's
he
fair.
did it.
That's fair.
We can
That's
just
fair.
make a GoFundMe.
Nerd
and make
Force, engage. Go fight it for us.
Shot for, at the time of 1987, 30 million, which is probably a little different than what it is now. Box office, 49.5 million. So needless to say, it was a
Good
success.
for the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's kind of amazing with $30 million budget. I mean, there are some things that I'm not going to call them extravagant, but special things that they did for this movie. Like, I read, though I've read two different things now, they rebuilt Steve Martin's house. So it was a full house that they built for the
wow.
movie.
Yeah.
But they also built a section of train track. They built like a train terminal.
Because
Like,
no
no company wanted to be like known,
Associated.
for that, and so they had to
For
build
being
a
for
train.
mistakes.
And
Yeah.
I mean, 30 million is pretty like modest for like a big budget movie for like worldwide distribution.
Yeah,
But like I've worked on, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I worked on like
but you are. No, I'm just kidding.
I worked on like $500,000 productions,
Yeah,
and I've seen them build like houses.
yeah,
And I'm like,
Wow.
okay. And like the thing is like, they build train tracks, they build like train stations. It's not fully
So
operated. for, like,
nowadays,
this part.
with inflation, let's see what that would be.
So I mean, like, there's a lot of cool things you can do just with really crafty people. I mean, if anything, kind of like speaking to your point is like the team that worked on it definitely were masters of their craft of like building a train station, building a house, like under 30 million.
yeah.
But it's probably like something like maybe they wouldn't have done that for like a comedy or like a John
Yeah.
Hughes comedy because like Breakfast Club, I'm sure that was just a
A
school.
location.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's really crazy.
So, initial reactions.
Yeah.
Where we're starting.
I'll start. I don't mind. I mean, this is one of those things one of those movies that when Corey mentioned it, it was like, oh yeah. I mean, for me, I grew up on the era of Steve Martin, John Candy. These people are legends to me. And I mean, somebody that like when John Candy died, I actually felt heartbroken. Like I was like, oh my gosh. So this movie, it's on the Josh's childhood library where it's like, okay, this is it is that they don't do comedy like this anymore.
Yeah.
It's slapstick, it's silly, it's kooky, and I fucking love it. And so it is those cutaways or those like they're fucking melted to the dry. It's the when Bonnie and I were watching it, she was like, really? And I was like, suspension of disbelief. Shh, move forward. Where they're like,
Is it the fucking devil thing and
the devil thing, or
and
their
the
hands
skeletons?
are stuck to the
thing?
steering wheel being
I
bent.
love those.
Or the car even still work. Anyway, sorry.
But the radio works fine. I'll tell you what.
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear. But anyway, I mean, I love the movie. But this was when I was a kid. So, I mean, even watching it again, I was like, okay, yeah, this still holds up for me.
Yeah. So for me, and it's like I'm scratching my head as to how I didn't come across this movie before, because it's like it's totally up my wheelhouse for like Steve Martin type comedies. Like huge fan of like Sergeant Bilko, things like that. I had a really good, but I wasn't super familiar with John Candy. Like I kind of remember him a little bit from Home Alone, but I don't feel that as like a major role or not major enough for me to know that he's like a big actor or whatever. So unfortunately, Josh, I'm not super cultured with John Candy, but
It's fine.
You've invoked.
it's fine.
It's fine.
But I really liked him in this, and I had a really good time with this movie, and it was really funny, and I had a good time watching it.
I had a good time watching it.
And I had a sensible chuckle.
I
Corey,
had a few,
A sensible but
Wow.
level-headed chuckle.
several.
Corey,
me?
Yeah, Corey, you kind of went a little bit about yours with the family thing, but what's your first time like?
It was with my dad and grandpa. And at this point,
Take that
I
out of
wanna
context,
say-
please.
I did.
Oh my
Kaylin,
gosh.
he's only talking about something really personal to himself. That's fine.
I'm sorry. I looked at Tom first thing, and so of course it went that
And
way.
after we were done having sex, we
no,
watched
still.
Some call it ancestral. I call it ancestral.
No.
and we watched
Lineage.
planes, trains, and automobiles. No, and I was probably the first time I saw this film, Caitlin, I was probably around 7 or 8.
Wow.
Just because it's one of those films that, except for one scene, would have gotten a PG rating. And my family was like, whatever, it's words. They, whatever.
Did they like choose the movie, or is it something that was just on TV?
No, it was like my dad and grandpa were like, this is the film we're going to show you because it's one of our favorites.
Okay.
So, and then it just became a tradition from there. But I remember at this point, I had seen Cool Runnings, and I had, so I was familiar with John Candy and stuff like that. And so I loved it from start to finish. I'm sure at 7, there were some things that I didn't get that I have later on, but since I've watched it every year, it's kind of all blended together. And it's just become a very big piece of my Thanksgiving tradition.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. And I love it.
My first impression when this started was, oh no, this is all slapstick. I thought this,
Did you think it was a drama?
No, I knew it was a comedy.
I did.
But I actually thought it was a different movie entirely.
What did you think it was?
A documentary about the automobile industry?
It was a different movie, like an actual different movie that you were like.
It was an actual different movie that it was like in a plane. Don't Call Me Shirley.
Airplane?
Oh,
Yeah,
Airplane.
I thought it was Airplane. I thought it was Airplane.
Josh is about to throw his chair out the window.
Fun fact.
I thought it was Airplane.
It's the same plane.
The plane used in the model when it's the shot of the plane in the sky is the same plane from Airplane.
So we're just going to pretend that's why.
Yeah, that's actually,
No.
I'm pretty sure why. Yeah.
Well, no,
To be fair, is all slapstick as well. So I don't know what you were expecting.
No, it's nothing like that. It was when
It's a shared universe.
When it took the buddy route, where it was like, oh, a lot of really tiny annoying things are gonna happen. That's when I was like, oh no. But as it went on, I kind of felt like, oh, what's his name? Dean, not
John.
Neil.
Neil. Wow.
Neil Page.
Neil. I
Steve Martin.
kind of softened up to how things were happening as Neil did.
Oh yeah.
So I liked the movie.
So the filmmakers did what they were supposed to.
They did what they were supposed to do. It landed.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's wrong with you?
Why?
No. Why did you say, oh no? No, I'm just curious, like what you meant by that. Like, oh no, the hilarity that is going to ensue.
No, I have an idea.
What?
If you could allow me to guess. In that I kind of felt that throughout this movie a little bit, was like when those annoying things happened, they also annoy me as a person.
Yes.
So I don't want to
Makes
experience them either.
So I have a thing with like cringe.
So they
cringe
got it
humor
right.
is like
So like spitting on your hand and
really painful for me.
okay.
Like there was a Mr. Bean Johnny English.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go see it because
Another
I really
master
liked
of his
Mr.
craft.
Bean. In the theater with my mom, and she can attest to this.
Shout out to your mom.
I shoved my head all the way down and had to plug my ears because I could not watch the movie because it was so cringy. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
I couldn't watch the movie.
I couldn't watch the movie. So
I completely get it.
So when these little, like, they were funny, but I was totally in Neil's mind of like,
Oh,
if
yeah,
this
yeah,
was
yeah.
happening to me
You were
right now,
experiencing it.
this would be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
So that's where the oh no came from.
Interesting.
But it kind of melted away when it was just like, this is my life now.
Yeah.
Like it became funny,
Okay.
but it wasn't initially.
So the first time I actually ever watched this, and I told Caitlin this on the way here in a car that I drive.
Automobiles?
Yes. I literally watched the part where John Candy sees Neil's wife. So I saw the very end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
First time I was like, because it was like on TV.
Okay.
You know, when you're like channel surfing and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's John Candy. Oh, it's over.
You get it way out of
It's like,
context.
God damn it. And so like watching it later on, like I think, I don't know what it was, but like Disney Channel was really kind of what got me to John Candy, was Cool Runnings and Uncle
Yeah.
Buck.
Yeah.
Cool
late-
Runnings.
Late night movies is that kind of stuff for me with Disney Channel. And then later on, like, I don't know where I watched it. I think my parents once had a VHS, and I think I kind of attest to like Josh is like, this is one of the movies that, you know, like every kind of like American household had like a VHS of, and it's like it should be part of their collection. So when I watched it, I didn't get it as much as I think I should have because I was a little younger then, because I was like a teen, and it was like when, you know, as a teenager you have a lot of time on your hands. but now rewatching it as an adult, it's like a lot of the really good things that really hit you. But even as a teen, it wasn't lost on me about like how like it kind of captured the era that was in and like how warm you're supposed to feel about it afterwards.
Yeah.
So
it's all these silly things, and then it's like oh.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, these are the buildings of like good drama.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't have to be like dramatic the entire time. It doesn't have to be funny the entire time, but it can play to those parts of like there's a heart to the film.
Yeah.
Like Steve Martin really does want to go home to see his family.
Yeah.
And he just really doesn't like this guy. And it's like he's not a misanthrope or anything like that. He's just like, I don't care for anybody. Like I don't care for this dude. I just want to see my family.
Yeah.
And he like, he has a good family at home waiting for him.
Yeah.
And John Candy's character is just like, he's not a terrible guy either, but it's just like these two people are like oil and water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these I would say like 80s, 90s, I don't feel like it's as prevalent and as slap you in the face as it was in this era, is that lessons are like you are slapped in the face with the lessons.
Yeah.
They're what you're supposed to be learning from the film. The film's theme, so to speak, is kind of presented to you.
The massage.
Yeah, the massage.
And I would say like kind of what you're saying is like you don't see a lot of comedies like this anymore. Like a lot of comedies now, I think, really use dialogue as a crutch. They utilize that so they can kind of like be, just have banter back and forth, and they kind of just like, go back
to
and
a
forth.
degree. There is a change happening with movies like Game Night and Tag that are getting a little back into the let's use the entire human body for jokes
100%.
as well.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, but I do agree with that 100%. Like 90% of the comedies right now are improvised dialogue.
And I'm not saying that's like a terrible thing. It's just that you don't see the slapstick body stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like, but
I think it's terrible.
Jim
This
Carrey
is-
was one of the last, all of his movies are essentially like slapsticky and
His body's an instrument.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a craft to it. There's a mastery to it. Like it's a whole body performance, and so it's something that we're starting to see come back, like Corey said. So it's kind of cool, and like I think that's what is with comedy. It's like we'll see phases of it, and so it's kind of nice to kind of get like this modernized version of it now.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, what it makes me think of is it really is related to theater. I really do think. And like, if you go back, the movies they started with the theater, like that's what they had. And as we move farther and farther, they have kind of taken their own paths. And so movies can explore a little bit more. Like, slapstick used to be what comedy was. I mean, that's what it was. Yes, that you had great writers that could, like Neil Simon, who could write great dialogue. But even if you take The Odd Couple, there's still a physical aspect to it. And so to show it, because the person in the back of the room needs to see what's funny about this scene, not just hear it.
yes,
And so with this,
It's a tightrope walk.
Yeah, exactly. And so as we move farther, like we're still in the 80s. And so we're moving farther away from the theater stuff. I mean, I think of Mel Brooks. I think of movies.
You're talking like almost vaudevillian stuff we're moving away from.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, vaudevillian. And so like Caitlin, you had a question when I was like, oh, Naked Gun. Like the Naked Gun movies are on par with like Airplane, where it's just
it's a lot of sight gags,
slapstick, like
wordplay.
What is funny might not necessarily be what's right in front of your face. It might actually be what's behind the action that is going on. So like in Airplane, like a nun is doing something silly. In this one, the guy is saying, this flight has been canceled, and on the sign it says nowhere. You may not notice that, but it's what's going on behind.
The destination is nowhere.
So it's like this kind of comedy for me is like, it warms my heart because I just love seeing like, it's so silly. Like his hands, like when they're going through that accident,
crunch through the fucking
finger
dashboard.
things.
they're in the dashboard and they're like peeling them off, or like
The steering wheel's bent in half.
Yeah, he gets kicked in the nuts and he's like, for the rest of the scene, he's like, "Ah."
Yeah.
It sounds like you kind of bring us into our first part, which is favorite parts.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to continue with that some more?
I mean, it's
Please do, Josh.
okay.
And we can kind of
Fine,
like
I
go
guess
back
we'll
and
talk
forth
about
too.
my favorite things.
You've heard of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. I'm
Yeah.
starting 60 Seconds of Kevin Bacon. No,
Seriously,
I
seriously.
just thought that was so funny.
That
it was just like,
interesting.
oh, It's Kevin Bacon. I totally forgot about this.
So I had like a weird thing because like I'm going through my Netflix fucking library of like the list that keeps growing.
Yeah.
Of like watch later. And I fucking watched Animal House again.
Okay.
And fucking he's in there in the first fucking like scene. I was like, oh my God, Kevin Bacon is in everything.
But what was so funny is that some people were thinking that the movie She's Having My Baby and this movie are in the same universe because he looks the same, he kind of acts the same. But later on, the wife is watching She's Having My Baby. Anyway.
Which is strange because didn't it come out after?
Which movie?
She's Having My Baby?
Probably, but they're saying that it's kind of in the same.
Yeah, I just think it's funny she's watching it on TV and it hadn't come out yet.
I like any of the kind of the silly things. Okay, so like when he's noticing who Dell is and they flash to like the
the fucking just the car door.
The reaction.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same shot.
Airport.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the airport. I'm like, wow.
It's him piecing it together.
Yeah.
So good.
We could go around the rooms.
Caitlin, favorite part?
My favorite part is something so small, but it's in the when they're in the motel, the Briarwood, whatever.
There's a hotel.
Briarwood Inn.
The first one.
Okay.
And they're staying in that like sex motel with the vibrating bed.
Yeah.
And when they lay down to sleep and everything, on either side of that painting are
the
two
hands?
dirty handprints.
Yep.
And it was just like, you already know how uncomfortable they both are about the whole situation. And that
Plus he spilt beer in the bed.
and he spilt beer in the bed, which
And he left sopping towels all over the bathroom. And
oh my God, having to watch his
left him the
foot
fucking
touch
hand rag.
that towel.
fully soaked towel.
Fully soaked,
Wet,
like the
moist
water.
towel.
Watching, that was painful. But the attention to detail to like peak all of those nerves was probably my favorite part, because that's what sold it for me to just be like, this really is the worst.
So I feel like you're like the gif of like the kid who presses all the buttons. Like, these are all the bad buttons. Presses all of them for you.
Yeah. You pressed every single one. And you know what?
Nailed it.
Good job.
Corpow?
Oh man. Well, I think
The whole
it's kind of
movie?
cliche. No. Yes. No, it's kind of cliche, but John Candy's speech at the first time at that same motel when
Like Me.
Steve Martin kind of unloads on him. Yeah, I like me. And there's something that I've loved about John Candy, and there's a lot of other comedians who have this sort of tragicness to them that's kind of hidden underneath. And I know a lot of comedians have it, but John Candy has a wonderful way of accessing it. And he does it in a few other movies of his as well. He has this speech in Cool Runnings as well. When he's talking to the commission for disqualifying the Jamaican team.
Don't
And he
spoil it
just
for me.
hits this, well, too
That's
bad.
your fault.
That's true.
20 years later, spoiler alert, 25 years. So, but like that speech to me hits me in the gut every time. And John Candy, and I think it's the reason you forgive him throughout the film, is he does have this underlying, and he did in real life, of course, as well, but just this beautiful, tragic sensitiveness to him. And that scene is probably my favorite of the whole film. But then you have, I loved when he's like, oh, this guy wants to race. Like, yeah, he goes, you're going the wrong way. Well, how does he know where we're going?
Oh.
Yeah, how does he know where we're going? Like, that scene to me cracked me up. And when the car blows up and they're both just laughing together.
Killing joke style.
The slow realization, like they look back, each of them, and like, oh.
Yeah.
That was the final straw.
But my absolute second favorite scene besides that speech is when they get pulled over by Michael McKean, I think is his name, the actor. And him just playing the friendly driver, like, do you feel like this vehicle is fit? Oh, yeah. Well, none of the buttons work. No. You don't have seatbelt. No.
The
None of
speedometers
gauges
don't work. Yeah.
No. But the radio works, funny enough. And it's crystal clear, That scene to me cracks me up every time because he's just overly friendly and confident in the vehicle that is clearly charred to a crisp.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was one of my favorite as well, but more like towards the end of that where he's like getting a cop to come down so he can like whisper to him or whatever that like my pal's not gonna be able to like get home in time for Thanksgiving. cut to the courthouse.
Yeah. And
that was
Steve Martin gives that like pitiful, like, yeah, it's me. I want to get home. And you just see it being towed in front of the courthouse.
I do want to add a little bit about what you're talking about with John Candy and his performance, like that sense of like deepness or depth he has. Like it does come out like in Uncle Buck too. Yeah. And it's not even the fact that he's a tragic character, but he can go to that level in different ways.
Yeah.
And so it's
like he was a good actor, not just a comedian.
And it's something that like, again, when we're harping on the same thing, but it's like we do miss that out of like some of the modern comedies nowadays.
Yeah.
Where like everyone's just kind of like, as Caitlin would say,
trying too hard.
Are just assholes to each other. And whoever could be the better asshole to each other wins.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to be the funniest person on the planet.
Where this one's here, it's more like whoever is the most genuine actually wins.
Yeah.
So, anymore, there's just a lot of one-upsmanship. And in this, they weren't trying to like one-up each other. They were more like, all right, let's get real then.
Yeah.
John Candy and Steve Martin have both separately said this was their favorite film of their own.
Wow.
That's awesome. I also
thought that was cool.
Being like him getting to the rental, being dropped off the rental
and
lot.
That car there.
And the car not being here, but then him like coming up to the desk with like his tie around his like head and like all
the F-bombs.
The 16 F-bombs. And her response is beautiful.
Yeah. I don't care for your tone.
You're fucked.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, damn.
There's also another bit I love. So, you know how he gets the room for the $17.36 or whatever it is, and he walks out, and John Candy's like, I have $2 and a Casio.
Casio.
He does this wonderful thing where he like rolls it across his arm and like
across his hand a couple times.
Yeah, and he like peeks his eyebrows. I love it.
Oh, that was cool. Him like selling the
earrings, shower rings, shower rings.
They have a quick $100,
so they're lighter.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, filled with helium, so they're
lighter.
They used to make you look older. All of them give money,
like 18.
Any other favorite parts, Ollie?
Oh man, there's a bunch.
While you
yeah, you go.
I have two. Okay. One is the very end. Fucking Paul Young. Every time you go away. That song just gets me in a way, make me feel some type of ways. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that song hits.
Like crying in the corner?
Like crying in the corner.
We all got a text from Tom that just said, "Dat Paul Young, though."
That song, and it's a cover, but I'm like, you hear that doom, 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 doom. It's like,
why is Tom fetal in the corner?
I don't know why, but I have to cry right now.
Here's the thing. And I said this,
here's the thing.
I'm right there with you. And like to accentuate that, I said this off air, but I figured out the twist. Well, that I knew a long time ago, but I figured out the twist of this movie or whatever. The fact that his wife is dead, I knew it like almost immediately, like probably within.
They give you clues way early,
really. Yeah. But I was like, I not only like guessed it, but I was like 100% certain of it that that was the case, to the point where like the scene of him in the car out in the snow, when you still haven't like you don't know for sure, but he's kind of like
talking to himself,
like but to his wife.
I messed it up.
Like that was like that got me.
See,
that solidified.
I was like, no. I was already solidified, so that just having that information going into that scene, I was
touched him inside.
Gut punch.
Yeah.
I thought the story was actually going to go a completely different way.
He was going to be a ghost.
It's not that kind of holiday story. No, I thought that like all of
Dell died 40 years ago.
Oh God!
Happy Thanksgiving.
Neil died 40 years ago. Oh,
he's in the suitcase.
Nightmare Before Thanksgiving.
And Neil Page is a serial killer, and he's had him in the suitcase the whole time, and it's his guilt haunting him all the way home.
Oh my God, there are so many options for this story, and none of them are the one that I thought it was.
And there's 5 decapitated heads in the duffel bag.
A single one. Oh! Anywho, I thought that this was going to be him saying that he hasn't been home in years and that kind of thing, was that he and his wife were fighting, and it was all these little trivial things that don't really matter, and then that was going to mimic their journey from where they were to going home, and that's how
I think
he
you're
was
supposed to think that.
Yeah.
I fell into the trap.
Then the filmmaker did what he was supposed
The first clue you get is John Candy is talking is, you know what I always say is family first, but then when the flight is delayed, the first thing he does is call a motel.
Yep.
So it's like supposed to be the first hint.
You called
that,
it
like,
family. I called the Motel Inn.
See, but
Yep.
that just makes me think that they were fighting or something.
Oh no, 100%. You're supposed to, like that. You did right.
Good.
So
No, I mean, I think that he's dead. He's in the suitcase. Anyway.
So my second favorite part and my last favorite part is in the fucking car and they're going the wrong way and it's the insanity, but it's the cut of the skeleton that reminded me of Home Alone
And the devil.
and then the devil and then him looking
just
and laughing.
laughing.
I was like, this is the greatest the greatest coolest shot effect I've ever
Say
seen.
it.
Like one shot.
Mise en scène.
Mise en scène is in one frame. The coolest
No,
shot
I
is
know.
yeah.
You just almost said it, and I wanted to hear it.
Almost. But yeah, it's best fucking montage shot of like these.
I've always wanted to make a movie like this.
That
like
actually
just silly.
took me out of it a little bit.
I loved
Hilariously
it. Of course,
enough.
Of course, it took me out of it, but I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like-
you do kind of forget about it
Near-death
after it's over.
experience.
But it's also like what this movie. The thing I love about this movie, I think it's it's a good journey film. It's like Shrek, where like characters trying to go to A to B, or I guess Shrek is like this because it's trying to go A to B, and in order to get to A to B, C, D, E, F, G gets involved. And now it's just one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. And then you keep pushing away the one person that's actually helping you get to that point. So that creates the drama and it creates the complication of the character's understanding of the world. And so you give the character exactly what the character needs via the way that they don't want it. And so like that's why like it's like to me I'm when I watch this movie, like after a long time, not like marathon it like watch again. But if you watch a long time, you're like, I'm just so ready for more shit to happen to him. Like I just want this fucking trip to be a month long. Like I want the 3-hour cut of like all the bullshit that happens.
I mean, the irony of it all is that if he would have just stayed at the original airport, he would have gotten home sooner.
Yep.
Because they said there was like a thing on the news that was like, okay,
They're gonna-
traffic is clearing up and all
Yeah.
this kind of stuff because she was falling asleep to the news, and it's like all he had to do was just stay there.
There's one other part I really want to mention, and it's a small thing, but it cracks me up every time, and it's just like an instant karma moment, which happens a lot to Steve Martin in this movie.
Yes, a lot.
After the flame, the car flame, hot flame on the side of my face, it burns, and he finds out that Dell had put his credit card
in his wallet
on it, and he punches him in the gut and immediately turns around and trips over the briefcase. Will get me it's such a Three Stooges moment, but it'll get me every time. I had to pause it because I laughed too hard today.
Wow.
I almost
Even
died.
now.
Yeah.
almost
This is my
died.
third time watching it in the last couple weeks. So like even then I had to pause it.
So
You could have killed me with that gut punch.
That's how Houdini died,
I'm going to flip this on its head. Normally we do favorite characters,
But we all know who
But
they
there's two characters, so I'm gonna do favorite side.
John
character.
Candy.
I was gonna say favorite side character.
And I just wanted to throw it in.
Okay, you got it in there. So favorite side character.
I'm not
That's
going
a great
first.
question.
on
I'm not
our
going first
on the
this.
little nice script I wrote out.
There are a lot.
We do have
of
some
little.
I mean, for me, it's 100%. Her name's not on here, but the car rent from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Mm-hmm.
She said that she still gets people who approach her in the street and ask her to say "you're fucked." So,
Wow, defining role.
she's my favorite side character for sure.
Because the cool thing that I saw with all the side characters is like every single one of them went to go have careers. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like really cool to kind of like see this like little, this is like earlier work that they've done. It's like everyone is in something and they're all kind of known for like roles that are kind of based around these kind of characters.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Oh, I know.
Well, she had done Ferris Bueller before this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a Howard Hughes, Jesus Christ. John Hughes friend kind of thing. And, but like the fact that he goes on off this rant and she just calmly goes, well, then where's your rental agreement? I threw it away.
Oh.
I just love that. And apparently there's a little bit of like the first one or two takes she did it, how it was written in the script, like before he walks up, you know how she's on the phone. And apparently John Hughes just was like, hey, do you mind just improvising? And she improvised all her lines until he comes up. And the finger up was her
Nice.
improvisation. And she was like, he came up to her, he's like, how did you come up with that? And she was like, oh, I just based it on my life. And he went, yeah, I get it. So that was, anyway, I'm done.
My favorite side character was Gus's nephew, the truck driver, his wife. or girlfriend, whatever it was.
Who can carry luggage really?
Who
Baby came out sideways and she didn't scream.
She doesn't say anything. She doesn't even get to do anything. Like, just the way that she comes out of the truck, you're like, oh, she's gonna fuck up something. She's gonna fuck up a bitch right now.
Yeah.
Like,
That line catches me by surprise every time too.
What,
about the baby when he's like, her baby came out sideways, not one scream.
It's just like you feel like she's some kind of eldritch horror that just waiting to be unleashed. She was great. She didn't even do anything, and I loved her.
Ali,
I like that. Good choice, Kaylin.
I think mine is also the rental car agreement lady.
Oh, she was hilarious.
Yeah. Just because of all the things that you said.
Because
like holding up the finger,
things that
like
you
that.
said.
That
You said a lot of
typical-
words. They were good.
But it's like I feel like it's probably like the earliest version of that kind of character where it's like she has more important things to do than to help the customers in front of her or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she's on a personal call. But then her interaction with him was pretty great.
Amazing.
Her name is Edie McClurg, by the way.
Edie McClurg.
Edie McClurg.
I think I like Owen. So Gus's nephew, the guy who drives it, because like I rewatched this
His
and I was like,
faces.
holy fuck, it's Kurt Connors from Spider-Man.
Every time he went.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my god, it's so good. And I was just like, that's the cool thing. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of like cool characters that they meet along the way.
Well, you have Martin Ferrero, who's the lawyer from Jurassic Park.
He was my favorite. Just
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
no. He just, his reactions to him, like, no, I don't own the place. Like,
Yeah. You can't do that.
no, I love the Martin Ferrero.
Ben Stein.
Ben Stein. I mean, shout out to him. But fucking, there's this guy when they're sitting on this bench, this like old man that's sleeping, and he has two mice
Oh, that have chewed out the side.
shoot out of this box. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? You just watch it and you're like, oh man, that really sucks. And you're like, oh, that old man. There are two mice sitting on his knee.
And not
just
only
chilling there.
they chewed out the back of the box and are like actively crawling on his leg,
Mm-hmm.
but then they start to go back in by the end of it, and you're just like, does he know? Are they trained?
Of course they're trained. He's probably the wrangler. But like also the fucking car guy at the airport terminal who grabbed Steve Martin by the nuts.
Oh.
Like, Jesus, what an asshole, but also
And
what
I'm
a
not
badass.
leaving until you get help this man up. No problem.
So awesome.
And Kevin Bacon. Shout out to Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
I love
Kevin,
Kevin
it's
Bacon.
Kevin
I
Bacon. Oh, one more favorite scene.
Love bacon.
Buconahue.
Why'd you kiss my ear? Why are you holding my hand?
Where's your other
I
hand?
don't-
Between
two pillows.
Pillows.
That's not two pillows. That Bears game. Oh yeah, I think they can go all the way.
Immediately trying to go macho.
Yeah, I loved that. Why'd you kiss my ear? It's just the best.
It threw me off guard earlier because Tom was telling me in the car that this is
I play the fifth.
well, he said it, so he was like, yeah, this is one of the manliest movies I think I've ever seen, and that was like
That's funny.
apparently ranked just under Predator, so this is a pretty manly movie, guys.
Because there's hardly a lot of like romantic interest like that happens. Like it's already
Oh, I
established,
see.
and so you only really have these two characters, and it's like their voyages through the fucking United States.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a fucking
Okay.
manly ass movie.
I also like the just him like using the little tiny towel to
Oh
like
my
start
God.
to dry
Oh, yeah.
himself off,
Washcloth?
and he goes try to like dry his back with it. Like I thought
That's
that was
literally happened to me way too many
It's the
times.
best.
It's so upsetting.
It's like this
Is it
movie
because
just
he went
is.
second?
Yeah, because he had already like
Yeah.
messed up
Yeah.
the whole bathroom. That's why the sink had so much crap on
Had
it.
his socks in
It's
there.
awesome because the way they shoot the towel rack first, it looks like a normal sized towel.
Yes.
And then when he picks it up and it's smaller than his face, you're just like, this is great.
Well, you
This
think
is
it's
amazing.
you think it's a face towel, so you're like, oh, it's kind of bad. Then you realize it's a hand towel. You're like, oh, it's even worse.
yeah.
So
And it reminds me a lot of those buddy road trips. Like, I don't know if you guys are fans of Tommy Boy, but
Oh my!
that's another
what
one of
did
my
you
favorites.
do?
Yeah. Richard. So anyway,
Let's see it.
it was funny. I was rewatching this for the episode. You know, watching.
God damn it, Ollie.
Sorry.
Rewatching this for the episode we're recording today, and it just dawned upon me so much. I'm like, man, if they were to remake this right now, which they shouldn't, but I was just like, I could totally see Paul Rudd being
Due date.
Steve Martin.
Due Date is supposed to be a spiritual remake.
Yeah.
But
What is?
And it doesn't come close. Due Date
which
with
is
Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Oh.
Wow. That was like stereo.
You
That was
guys
the
are
hardest
same
thing to do.
person.
Do you know who I thought instantly would make a decent replacement for John Candy?
Jason Segel.
Yes.
Jason Segel and Paul Rudd.
How did you know that?
Because I thought the same thing. We share buttholes.
What? No, that's not how that works.
But we also
But it
could
is.
share
Have you
towels.
seen it?
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah,
Rudd,
so-
Jason Segel. It's I Love You Man.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
because
I could see. I don't want it to happen, but and it doesn't have to be like a. But I would watch a movie like this. That was that. Like
Due Date.
or you can have
But I hated that movie. Not hated
Me
that
too.
movie.
you can have Jason Bateman, your boy,
Yeah.
and then you can have fucking Seth Rogen or some shit.
Oh, I could see that too.
See?
I could see it, and I would watch it.
Well, I mean, I think that what I guess in a back-asswards way I'm saying it is kind of like you could see a lot of character archetypes were built a little bit off this. So like it's
Yeah.
kind of like this is like how the buddy comedy should be, and like you see a lot of imitators but not a lot of duplicators.
So are we at Tom's favorite?
Tom's qualms.
The is it time for gripes?
Fuck that. Gripes are
There's
for
always
vineyards.
time for gripes.
Gripes are for vineyards.
Oh my
Vineyards and
God.
wine.
That was amazing.
I really love
Wow.
the vintage of this gripe.
This vintage gripes
classic.
swirls
That-
the glass.
That barrel taste, which is whiskey. But
Before we get into this, there was a question I didn't answer and I totally forgot. Is how much was 30 million today?
back in the day.
Oh yes.
67 million now.
Oh,
Okay.
So still relatively
still-
small.
Yeah. Still like what you would see for like a comedy movie nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So qualms.
oh, that's hard.
I'll go
I-
first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I don't have any. No, no. The qualms are not qualms. They're just
They're nitpicks.
discomfort.
Okay.
They're
They're quims.
They're quims. They're
Quins.
they're discomforts. I'm reacting the way that they want me to react. Like the bathroom scene is the ultimate for me. You've got a mess. You've got dirty socks in the sink.
There's no clean
You've got-
towels.
I can't stand it when my towels are wet. When you step down and it's all wet, it just drives me fucking insane. And I want a fucking towel right fucking now.
I wondered if it was getting. I'm glad
There
you
it
did.
is.
There it is.
Josh, who hurt you?
Sorry.
Who pissed on all your towels and left them on the ground?
Have you ever lived that real situation?
Yes.
Okay, me too. And
That's probably why I'm having.
Yep. You get
PTSD right
flashbacks.
now?
You get flashbacks to how terrible it was when you don't have a clean towel. The
I bet you
bathroom is
whoever
a
wrote
mess.
that also lived through that.
Oh,
Mhm.
100%.
It's probably the rental agreement woman.
Probably
like
so.
life experience.
But yeah, no. That,
Like I
I'm-
said,
am
whoever, like I didn't know it was
full on
John
there
Hughes.
with you, Josh.
Yeah.
Full.
Yeah. So,
So-
it was, I have no
Alright.
gripes. There's nothing that I would change about the movie.
You just wanted to say that.
I just wanted to say that this is, or the
That it's
fucking,
foul.
Owen when he kept going.
Oh, no.
And the
no.
facial, but
That's
what
the
made me laugh
calm
was his
version of
facial
that.
expression.
Oh, just
He would-
froze, kind of
his-
like that.
His sinuses.
His mouth would be open, his nostrils would be flared, and he would make a pig noise like
Yeah.
That's
like
the
it's
ASMR for you guys.
horrifying. That's not no, Tom, no.
Some people.
No, he's
gonna
talking
do
about
that.
for our listeners.
Because I snore. So if I do that, maybe I'll be better.
Clear your
Ugh,
nostrils or I'll snore all
God.
night.
Like it both sounded like it was helping and making it worse. At the same time. Like he did it so
breaking
perfectly.
even?
It was upsetting. It was just upsetting to hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So I had to piggyback.
So the
but
bathroom scene just made me just cringe.
Yes.
Just
Caitlin,
Anyway.
any qualms of the movie?
Actually, yes. One, I don't like how it ended. It's personal baggage. It's not a real qualm.
Oh, you don't like happy families?
Yeah, I hate it when
That's really
families are together
Yeah.
for the holidays. It
Yeah.
makes me so upset.
Yeah.
Where's Macaulay Culkin? Where's Kevin?
Yeah, like
It was
he's
a
never
Lawrence
gonna find his mom. But I guess I
I'm
just
the
want.
father.
I wanted more for Dell. And I was happy that he kind of got this, he
has a home now.
He has a home, he
There's
has
new
a family.
tribe, yeah.
But I guess I just wanted a little bit more for Dell than what I got. And that's just me personally. I still think that it wrapped it nicely in a little bow and everything. But
it's not about wanting more.
Did you want Steve Martin to be like, and here's my wife's sister?
No, not at all.
But hold on. It's not about wanting more. It's about being thankful for what you have.
Boom.
Thanksgiving.
Meow, meow, meow.
Happy holidays. Like when they kept saying that, Patrick, I was like, shut up, stop.
I just thought of Don't Be a Menace. When he goes in, he goes, theme. The mailman comes in and goes, tink, theme.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the whole point of it. And I know, and like I said, it's not a real qualm. It's just personal baggage. I just wanted more for Dell. That's basically it.
Aww.
I wanted him to be, I wanted him to have a happier ending than that.
Yeah.
Corey, any qualms?
Corpow?
Let me guess.
Nah. Like,
Tom?
honestly, like my honest opinion is you have two of, like Josh said, the comedy kings and one of the greatest film writers of that era. It's really hard to miss. It's essentially a slam dunk with a 40-foot hoop.
With a ping pong ball.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for that visual.
And the music, everything's there.
Ollie smocks and free. Let me guess. There was not enough theme. You would like it to
I would
crescendo.
have liked the music to swell at the right moment.
You know, like a little tum to tum.
No. Yeah, for me, it's hard to separate. It can't. Well, I'll put it this way: it can be challenging at times for me to separate, like, the fact that it was just like a product of its time. And to me, the thing that kept sticking out to me was the music. But it's like, yeah, okay, it was the 80s. That's like what it was.
You mean like the Beverly Hills Cop kind of music, but also kind of like the Golden Child music, but also kind of like
That was literally
it was a
cutting edge music.
the Ghostbusters kind of music, but also kind of like.
So that was a little overbearing at a couple points.
Well, it was more used in like post reaction because any more music is used to kind of build up to an action.
Also like transitionary kind of scenes or whatever. But the only thing that I just from like, and maybe you guys can help me through this is I felt like, he we're watching his character develop. I'm talking about Neil. Through
Steve Martin's character.
Steve Martin's character. It's Neil, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Through the course
Neil Page.
of Neil Page. Thank you. Through the course of the film. And I feel like we saw his progress towards John Candy's character, but we didn't see him affecting the world. So like him going up to, as amazing as that scene was, him dealing with the rental car lady, I feel like was a good opportunity for him to show some of that development.
Oh, but he hadn't developed by that point.
Well, wasn't that
at all
towards?
No,
I guess that was.
That's the height of his, and if you remember, that's all karma. It's like that whole 10 minutes and after that is karma leading up to this moment. I don't think he learns a thing until
he's outside.
After they've towed the car, essentially.
Well, I felt like it was like when he invites Candy, or he invites Del Griffin to the hotel.
Yeah.
When he's about 100%. To freeze to fucking death. Because I get what you're talking about of like he doesn't affect the people around him because he does do a lot of things for himself. But the thing is, the one person that's actually trying to help him, like out of the goodness of their heart, not because of a vendor or of a merchant, he does then turn the table and be like, I'm going to help you. And it's more of the sense of like what he does when he has all the faculties to not help him. Because the other people are all not really obstacles. They're more just hindrances between him and point B. But he sees John Candy as an obstacle when John Candy's actually helping him. And like when he finally is on the way home, he has all the whereabout to be selfish, to be the way he was in the beginning of the movie, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Then he does. Then he goes back and
all that growth happens right at the end, basically.
It's kind of like at the end of a Saw movie when
not
you
quite
see
right at the end, but closer to it.
And then my only other gripe was
qualm.
Whatever. Half the time half the time I do it by accident. By the way,
you do. I do by purpose all the time.
You don't have a choice about doing, Tom. It's all bodily functions. Anyway, continue, Ali.
It was the sort of hyper realistic parts of it that I didn't love, like the steering wheel bending, his high pitched voice. Like I was like, okay, I get it, you're doing it for comedy, but like that was the one thing where I was like, I'm not fully on board with that.
It's gonna work for some people, and it's not for others, for sure. I am of the loving it.
Yep.
You rather have a glowing sword that glows.
And I wonder if I would have had a different opinion if I had seen it like in the 90s.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there are things that are products. There's little bits of it that are, you can't help it. When you make a film, part of it is a time capsule.
Right.
And that's just unavoidable, unfortunately.
It's like Ralph and Ninja Turtles being kicked in the nuts. It's like,
yeah,
you have a shell.
That's such
but like
a good
when
point.
I was a kid, that was hysterical and I loved it and it worked.
Yeah. Or him being in a trench coat and people believing he's human.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I know, I understand.
But I mean,
Suspension of disbelief.
Have you seen the people in New York?
Yeah.
Oh.
I lived there for 3 years.
Everybody eating pizza and the second one.
They all look like that.
They all
Was the
have
first
green bulky calves.
Yeah, exactly.
Second one.
And webbed feet.
Yes. My qualms is I have none.
Yeah.
I think okay, so I thought about it, and I did one of the things. I think our cardinal principle is not to try to trash a movie if we don't have to. And I was really looking for things that I could like try to take away from it. And in doing so, I watched a bunch of John Hughes movies actually. So I watched Breakfast Club and 16 Candles,
Yeah.
and then watched this, and I was just like, this is way better than both of those movies.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Get out of here.
Sorry to.
No,
I was just
no.
going to say, sadly, one of my nicknames in high school was Ducky. Go on.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh.
It wasn't delicious,
Ducky
Josh.
for life, dude.
Breakfast Club is one of my favorite comedies of all time, and I think it's better than this. So that's interesting that you said that
Because you hadn't seen this one.
because I hadn't seen this one. That's,
grew up with
that's
that
what I
one.
mean. No, but that's exactly true because I saw Breakfast Club way back when,
Yeah.
and then several times since.
Yeah.
But this was the first time me seeing Planes, Trains. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is one of those sometimes
Peeling
when
back the layers.
Yeah,
Well, it's
we're
probably 'cause-
culturing you.
It's probably because Breakfast Club has this, Battle of Helm's Deep, and he like watches it and he like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that made him just like
I
it more.
remember
I'm
that.
kidding.
No, I mean it. Going back to what we've said ad nauseum, I mean, some movies just are time capsules, and if you didn't see them at that time, sometimes it's
hard to
jarring
adjust.
in a sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you're so used to what modern entertainment is now, that it's Anyway,
Everyone has varying perspectives,
yeah.
which is why we always talk about how all nerds are welcome because all of us are coming in with different angles of
Caitlin
viewing
bringing it
media.
full circle.
That's true though.
But like me,
I know.
me loving
Just
Breakfast
proud- that was
Club
good.
more is probably why I love Kevin Smith movies more
Mm.
because it's about a couple guys
Well,
in a room
because you can
talking.
see inspiration of Kevin Smith movies from
You can.
John Hughes.
80s
Oh yeah.
John
100%.
Hughes movies.
John Hughes set the trend for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we rate.
Now we time to rate.
I'll go
So-
first.
We
Yeah.
time to rate.
Who had points on who?
Oh, yeah.
What-
True,
what
true,
was
true.
the-
It's you. It's
I
you
think
two.
Caitlin had 3.
Caitlin had 3, then Ollie had 2, and then
damn.
the rest of
Okay.
us had none.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for
So
this.
you three first.
Corey and Josh, let's hear your 5s.
Josh, go ahead.
Well, actually, it's a 5.
Oh, I'm so shocked by this.
Wouldn't change a thing.
Corpam.
Mine is a 4. It's a 5. It's 100% a 5.
I was gonna say.
I don't give them out a lot, but there it is.
You know what? It's funny. I really don't want to, but I'm going to give it a 5.
Yeah,
It's the reason why I don't want to give it to it because it's like it's weird. It just feels in this weird place of like it's not. It doesn't sound like a Godfather. It doesn't sound heady. It doesn't sound heady like the Citizen Kanes or blah blah blah. Right? But there's seriously nothing wrong with this movie for me. There's there's nothing I can.
You encapsulated what I thought exactly. Continue. Sorry.
There's just nothing bad from it. I'm like, I could put this on at any time of the day and just feel good or feel any way I want to
I'll
feel.
watch it anytime.
Yeah, it's like it's I can watch it it's what for breakfast.
I will always watch it if it's on TV or if it's like someone's playing it at someone's house.
But what if Breakfast Club is playing at the same time?
Then we're changing to that because I give this movie,
Not in my house.
drum roll please, 0.3.
4.3.
Wow.
Higher than you thought?
Caitlin's
Lower than I thought.
Lower than I thought.
Lower than I thought.
Caitlin's
Yeah.
knees locked so hard it hit her in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a black eye tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I can have a black eye here tomorrow.
What? So what? Explain your 4.3.
So it's just not my favorite type of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anywhere near, and this is going to break Corey's heart, but I don't think I had a single
Not at all.
laugh out loud moment.
Oh.
But it was just
I was
funny to
wrong.
watch happen. and I enjoyed it. And I love Steve Martin. So the one thing I say is the parts that I did kind of chuckle or laugh loudly in any shape was anytime Steve Martin did like a physical bit or like
interesting,
like because I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
So that's what pulled through for me. That was my kind of like positive baggage or whatever going into it, being like expecting good Steve Martin, which I got very happy about that I got.
Yeah.
But just kind of like the other things of me not being familiar with like John Candy's work, even though he did an awesome performance, but it's just not my favorite type of comedy. I don't know.
John Candy's are my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Like it's funny because you guys are all saying like how everything he does is so cringy or blah, blah, blah. I'm just kind of like,
I haven't said that.
Okay,
because there was and I didn't really mention this and
generalized.
I didn't mention this in my qualms, but it's like I have a limit of what I can believe in these like everything's going wrong.
Your
movies.
suspension of disbelief only goes so far.
Well, it's like him overly doing the sinus thing, and then like the bathroom being all done with like all the towels are gone, and
that
just
one is
the stacking of it
to me,
like is what kind of pulls it down a little bit.
The argument I guess I would have to that, and I think what helps me with that is that none of it is as bad. We're seeing it all through Steve Martin's point of view.
Yeah.
So I feel like, at least when I watch it, again, this is just my opinion of it, is that everything we're seeing is exaggerated because it's how he's feeling it is. So that sound of him clearing the sinus might have just been like a little, like a sniffle. But to Steve Martin, it's literally him going like,
I guess that
all that
ASMR, at least especially that scene.
Yeah, I can see that being the case, but only not so because we've seen hard reality and we've seen the exaggerated. So I feel like from a film language standpoint, I didn't get that communicated to me.
For sure.
But
interesting.
Yeah. So Caitlin, let's hear your 4.7.
Actually, mine's a 4.9.
Oh, okay. All right.
Fair enough.
And I had the same thing actually, Ali, where I didn't really have any laugh out loud moments. There weren't any times where I was like, "Waha, this is so funny." Teehee. But
Teehee.
Waha,
making fun of my laugh because that's how I laugh.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
Shout out to all those who laugh like that.
But I liked the story. I
like the story.
I like the story. I wasn't in it as much for the comedy. I was more in it for the progression of basically watching Scrooge become a nice person, like, and having that personality soften over time and seeing outside of their own perspective. I liked that. So the personal baggage of wanting more for Del is kind of where I take off for that, because what I personally wanted from this movie didn't come to full fruition.
Yeah.
So that's where I like
take
off
your point one.
You would have wanted
my point one. I would have wanted a teeny bit more for Del
or Neil's family to be dead.
No,
so they can be with each other.
You were sold on the Neil story of going from like, I'm a businessman and everything has to be right and I don't care about anyone else, to I'm not wearing hockey pads.
God, I knew. I should have known.
A little bit?
No, you got it. You got it all the way. I just was upset because you did.
Are we still talking about the same thing?
I was just going to say
going to caring for others, and you bought that whole.
Yeah, I bought that aspect, and actually, because he is a businessman who travels a lot, so there are some times where things just stack, and you're so done that you are an asshole in dealing with the situation, and then it makes things far worse. So to me, the whole like stacking of events was actually somewhat believable.
Because all the miles he's put in where everything's gone right, this is all unbelievable to him.
This is all of them just going wrong all the way. And I've seen, not to this degree.
Well, I guess it's not that it's not believable, it's that it's not my flavor of comedy.
That makes
sense.
No.
That's not the hilarious things to me about it.
Gotcha.
So that's where it's like, okay, well, if that's supposed to be the hilarious things, then I'm not,
I get you.
Yeah.
You have no soul. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Wow, that's not. Remember, I didn't say that.
I said that. Don't worry. Everyone remembers me as being the bad guy. It'll be okay.
It's fair.
I give Tom a 3.5.
Caitlin, you realize that life is unfair, right?
Oh, I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
100%. I'm aware.
I feel like we gushed.
I think we did gush.
We did gush.
I feel like we gushed throughout the entire...
I could keep gushing on this film forever.
Of course.
Oh, there's a qualm. I never saw Turkey. I'm kidding.
Yes, you did.
I'm kidding.
Tom,
you saw like the most perfect turkey.
You did. She put like butter on it or some shit.
Turkeys don't look like that.
That's how that works? They just
What?
put
I don't
mutton.
know. Just put
There's a
some on it.
qualm. There it is. Turkeys do not look like that. No, I'm just
You
kidding.
haven't been to my house for Thanksgiving.
Wow. And he winked at me when he,
He
said
did.
that.
That was a very seductive wink.
Thanksgiving and chill.
My wife and I were watching Family Guy the other night, and Lois walks in and puts a frozen turkey on the counter, and it makes this like ka-tunk, and Stewie just goes, "Yeah, that's what a turkey from a respectable family sounds like." And I just couldn't stop laughing at it.
Aw.
Thanksgiving and chill.
Well,
Make it a thing. Make it a thing.
Thanksgiving and chill. I feel complete.
Yep.
I feel complete. Tom, did you complete?
I'm completing on Ollie after this.
Oh,
Wow.
Well, all
go
right.
touch
I'm
buttholes.
complete with that conversation.
Those aren't pillows. I'm just saying.
Thank you, everyone, for a wonderful November.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you for being you. We're really appreciative.
We
of
like you.
We like you. Everybody that's listening. That includes just people that just picked us up. We're like, oh, I wonder what this is. Thank you for listening. Thank you to our patrons for being along for this ride. This crazy
crazy
ass, awesome ride. We really appreciate you. The people that just are lurkers and they listen.
Yeah, and if you guys want to talk to us and really want to get like kind of a dedicated line, join Patreon, become part of the Discord chat. Like, we love talking with you guys.
Or just message us on Facebook.
Mhm.
We're everywhere that you want to talk to us. We'll go in depth in Discord. That's where like the real long
Deep
conversations
conversations
will happen.
I send
But-
mushy letters and
Oh yeah, that happens
Yeah.
as well.
I do want to say this month of November.
Pictures of oatmeal, he means.
This
Yeah.
month of November, we got 5 Thursdays. So we
Oh,
have
yeah.
5 episodes. So you guys got your bonus episode. We're not doing it. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
This is going to be a bonus episode.
But yeah, so thank you so much. If you are new to Nerd On and you would like to know more information about us and where to find more of us, check out nerdon.tv. That has all the stuff. It has links to socials, YouTube's, Twitch.
Josh, linky
Old
links.
episodes.
Linky links.
You can
you
check.
always say.
Yeah, the linky links, the likey likes.
You can check
stuffy
another
stuffs.
podcast that is part of the Nerd On family called Trope Time. Check
Yes.
that out.
It is the first Monday of every month, so it's coming up.
Something that I'm thankful for.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's trope time.
Trope Time.
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
I was
oh,
listening. I was
well,
like,
what
go
else
on.
is it, Tom?
It's kind of the way that you ended that phrase was
Well, he
kind
was
of
like,
like
oh, listen to trope time. I was like, something that I'm thankful
Deeper
for.
Guys.
exploration of topics.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I
No, you're
am
not.
thankful for all of you.
Aww.
Even though this comes out after Thanksgiving.
That's fine. We can all be thankful
well,
for
Crimes
things.
of Grindelwald came out, and
Yeah, this is our real
Well,
Thanksgiving.
this is
Thanksgiving.
for
Yeah.
everyone listening
Yeah.
to this in 2019.
because this is the
That's
only
fair.
Thanksgiving movie that's out there, really.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Yeah,
There's
right.
well,
let's see.
That's
there's-
next year.
Okay.
Spoilers.
yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Tune in to find out.
I'm trying to think. Are you talking about the Peanuts Thanksgiving?
No. The
Say
one that
penis?
I told you.
Yes, the
Yep,
Peanuts
he did.
Thanksgiving.
That's the one
Actually, I have a
starring
story
me.
about this.
oh my God.
I used to have a VHS of some. I don't remember what the movie was, but there was an ad for Peanuts, the cartoon, and I don't know who was behind whoever made this commercial, but they put the kid with the lisp with the line that "I love peanuts," and.
Oh, yeah.
I used to think it was the funniest. I still think it's the funniest thing, but that's burned into my brain now. So if someone can find that commercial and send it to us, I'll love you forever.
So happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. On that note, on all that gratitude,
Now
all
you
that
can, Now you
love,
can start playing Christmas music or holiday music.
now you're
Whatever you
allowed
feel.
to.
Now you're allowed to.
Yeah. As always.
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.